Hi there, I am Jennifer Elizabeth Masters. I'm a soul sculptor. I help you break the mold of past trauma and heartbreak so that you can have the amazing life of your dreams. And a part of everyday life, whether it is at work, at home, with friends, there will always be conflict. And you know, in the early days of me looking for a soulmate or experiencing a twin flame relationship, I thought incorrectly that in a healthy relationship there would be no conflict. And that is, it's crazy thinking because we're human, right? And we're different. And so there is going to be conflict that arises, and there are a couple ways to deal with it in healthy ways that allow things to be better as opposed to our hearts to shut down and our mind to go, I'm done with this guy, or I'm done with this woman, or I'm done with this healer. When we do that, we close the doors instead of grow through the conflict. And so I'm going to give you a couple of different ideas, things to do that will help you. So the first thing is to be aware, how do I feel in this moment? Am I feeling threatened? Am I afraid? Is what's happening reminding me of how my parents used to argue and how that used to scare me? You know, the very thing that we fear is what we attract. And I can attest to this 1,000 times over. My father was a big man, and when he was angry, he was very scary. My mother, not so big, but probably more intense and scary than my father was. And the two of them would scream and yell. And so as a result, and you may be this way if you've had trauma in your childhood, that when voices are raised, you go into fight. You want to fight with somebody, or you freeze, or you fly. You want to run away. You want to walk out, close the door, go for a ride. And all of those ways do not help to resolve conflict. And I understand it can be, a blowback of PTSD from those days, and I've experienced that also. When we freeze, we're really not able to think. We are in that, like a frozen deer in headlights, when we are in that fight, fright, or freeze mode, and flight, or freeze mode. And so there's a couple of things that are key here. One, you don't want to focus on your fears and instead work through them, because if you're avoiding a relationship because you are afraid of angry, scary men or angry, scary women, or that you don't want conflict, you're going to find conflict shows up in other areas of your life. It could be with your landlord, it could be with a neighbor, it could be with a friend, it could be with someone that you work with. And so the conflict, it is a way, it's a means, it's a road to help us grow. And there will always be conflict. Thinking that we can live in a world without it is crazy thinking. We're all human. We have different mindsets, different filters. We grew up in different backgrounds. So of course we're going to have a different experience. All right, so a couple of things. The first one is, number one, how do you handle stress? So if you have a hard time with stress, and maybe you're stressed all the time, there may be a couple of things happening. One, you may not be breathing deeply. And I find that people that have anxiety, and I used to be one of those, we're not in our body. And when we, there's a couple of causes for that. If you've had sexual trauma, if you have low self-esteem, then you won't be in your body because you fear yourself. And it is not something that I believed until I experienced it. And that is the thing, is that we're so afraid that people are going to see the truth of us, the light, the dark, the shadow parts of ourselves. We are complex beings. We are, all of us. And so being able to breathe deeply, take a nice deep breath in the middle of the conflict and notice, what is it that I am feeling? Am I feeling like I am afraid of this person because of their beliefs are not the same? Am I afraid of the words that they're saying? Am I afraid that I'm going to lose them as a friend, as a coworker, as a partner if I disagree or if I voice what I want to? So just being aware of what am I thinking in this moment? What am I feeling? And just notice, are you breathing? You probably aren't, because when we're in a conflict situation, the first thing we do is hold our breath, and we're not engaged. We're not in alignment, and so breathing is one of the fastest ways to relieve stress. And that's the first thing I would say is notice, are you breathing? And if you're not, breathe. Take a nice deep breath. And if you're in the middle of a conversation on the phone or in front of somebody, don't be afraid to say, can you just give me a second? Let me just take a breath here. It's okay to do that. And it's okay to take a moment. Let me just assess what it is I'm really feeling. Is this happening now, or am I relaying and really back as a child when my parents were yelling? Am I feeling like the little child that is helpless, that has no power? Is that me? And then when we feel small, we feel we can do nothing. A hawk just flew by my window. It's a very good sign there. So, okay, so being able to relieve the stress, being aware of our emotions, not using words. You don't want to call somebody names or tell them that they're stupid or that they're awful because they don't agree. So, keeping playground rules, right? No name calling. Don't tell the other person how stupid they are. And just notice, because the conflict is happening for a reason, and it's an opportunity for growth. So you could ask yourself, where have I felt this before? Does this remind me of my father, my mother, or my past relationship? Is this about me and how I engage with people? Do I tend to disassociate the minute there's conflict, and so then I am out there in the ether somewhere? So just recognize, because if you're not grounded in your body and you're not breathing, you're likely not even in your body. And we are spiritual beings. Yes, we have a physical body, but when we disassociate, we're basically not there. We're not present. So just notice, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? Do I feel like I don't trust this person? Are they making me afraid of something? Is this familiar territory? Are we actually dealing with something not at this time, not of this time, maybe something that I haven't dealt with from my past? And this oftentimes conflict arises because of something that we have within us that needs to move. And look at it as a great gift and an opportunity for you to see more truth about yourself. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Getting to know ourselves is a really beautiful thing. All right, so number 1, breathe to release the stress. Now, if you have issues with stress, this may be an opportunity for you to start doing the yoga, the breath of fire with the pumping of the stomach. I've done this before. So that's a great way to relieve stress, maybe not in the middle of an argument, but at another time, so that you're not in a stressful situation because you're already stressed from just life. And so that's not good, to be stressed all the time, because it affects our immune system. affects our ability to receive joy and be have gratitude for what's happening. Okay, so breathe into the moment, release the stress, notice what am I feeling, what am I afraid of, what's coming up for me. Is this like something that I've experienced in the past? Is it reminding me of some other argument I've had? And am I able to see the other person's perspective? That's huge. So have compassion for the other person, and rather than attack them or be defensive, it's how can I be more grounded about this situation? And what is my part in it? Taking responsibility for our own part. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I didn't communicate well. I am sorry, I forgot that you told me this. I apologize for my reaction. I felt threatened. And when we are able to say these things, we will be much more able to resolve the issue and move on in a closer, deeper, and a more intimate way with that person. Because when we can resolve conflict, that determines how far your relationship will go, not how great the sex is. It's how well can you resolve conflict. That determines the strength of a relationship. I hope this helped you. I'm Jennifer Elizabeth Masters, sending you lots of love, joy, and gratitude. Mwah! Enjoy the rest of your day.